Good day to you. My name is Gerald Asaruche. I'm a computer science student, and today I'll be sharing about what attributes and combinators are in HTML and CSS. So, first, we'll talk about the attributes in HTML, and second, we'll talk about the combinators in CSS. So, with the attributes in HTML, an attribute, we will first talk about what an attribute is. So an attribute is a special modifier placed inside the open tag of an element. It provides additional information about the element, changing its default behavior or appearance. So when basically an attribute in HTML is a modifier, a special item or a special element that is placed in an open tag. And I'll show you what an open tag is. An open tag, this is an open tag. So this is an open tag. An open tag is where we have the lesser than and the greater than with the with the with the element embedded in it, or let me say the attribute embedded in it. That's the open tag. So this is an open tag. This is an open tag. So the element in the open tag is the attribute. That's what basically the definition is saying. So an attribute is a special modifier placed in the open tag of an element that provides additional information about the element, changing its default behavior or appearance. So when you look at the code here, when you look at the code here, the attribute is describing the document, the whole file component. It's showing that the doc type HTML shows that it's an what? It's an HTML document. And when we have the head too as well, or the yeah, we have the head. The head also describes the whole data. It holds the whole metadata. So that's why we say that the attribute provides additional information about the element, changing its what default behavior or appearance. So we'll talk about the structure of attributes. Attributes are written as name or value pairs. So you can have an attribute with having a name, having a name and a value. Name, okay, brand. So that's it. So it can have an attribute can be written as a name or value pair. So this a name, this a name, and this a value pair. That's the purpose of an of a structure of an attribute. And we'll talk about the location to us. So the location they always appear within the element open tag after the element's name. So after there is an open tag, that's when the element's name comes. So this is the element name with the greater than tag to attach to it. So we have the open tag here. We have the open tag here with the element's name embedded in it. So in continuation, we'll talk about the key purposes of the HTML attribute. So the purpose, source or destination. Example of the attribute is src href. That's for linking items in the HTML file. So it specifies the URL, that's the uniform resource locator, for a link or an image or a script. So the purpose of the source or destination or this attribute, the href or the src, is to specify the uniform resource locator, a specific link or a specific web notification on the web site. So this URL or this URL link, when attached to the U to the href and the src, it links you to an image or a script. That's the whole purpose of this attribute, the href and the src attribute. That's the whole purpose. It links an image or a script in the html file. And we'll talk about the control, the purpose, the control, purpose with the control. So the purpose, and now we'll have the control. An example of the attribute is the type value disabled. So it defines the type of an input field or a button, set a default value, or disables an element. So that's the purpose of the type. The type is to help in inputting the value, and the value are a set of figures that will be inputted, and the disable is when the element is not in use, so the element will be disabled. In continuation, with purpose, we also have identification. That's the ID. We have the ID as identification and the class. So the purpose of the class and the ID, they are almost similar, but they are not similar. So with the class or the ID provides a unique identifier or a groups of elements, and the class is used for highlighting elements or items in the HTML file. And the purpose of highlighting is for styling is for styling and also for scripting. So when you have something like this and you want to style it up, that's the name. You say name class, and you say brand. So this the reason why I got a class is that I want to design this brand. I want to highlight this brand and change the typography or change the font color or design it with any design principle. That's the purpose. So the main purpose of the class is for styling and for scripting. That's you highlight the text and you style it and you script it. We'll talk another purpose, another attribute in HTML. That's the alt. The alt is to provide a text. It provides a text, or it provides an appearance of a text when the image is not being showed on the reader screen. So it provides a text description for an image used by screen readers and when the image fails to load. So you can have a web page that the image is not loading or the image fails to show. So the purpose of the alt is to provide a text. Is to provide a text in case the image fails to load. I'm coming. I can show you a few example. Okay, okay. There is an alt here already. So if this link, this image is not shown, it fails to load or the image fails to show. So here, when the image fails to show the alt, the alt means it will display a text. That's the purpose of it. I also talk about the styling hook. That's the style. It allows you to apply inline CSS.